Oh, wait. You know what? I didn't actually check. Hang on.
Check the.
I didn't. I forgot how to stop.
So what you're saying is that
So right
you can't stop and you won't stop?
I won't stop. Okay, so take 2. So it's best to not look at that one because, I mean, it's good to know that it's there, but this one in front of us will actually show what's happening. That's my face all the time, actually. Hi, everybody. We're live streaming again. I'm Alicia. This is Paul. Hi, Paul. Paul is my drumming good friend. I don't know what that means, but that's what we...
That'll work. I'll buy that.
I'm out. I'm sorry. I'll shut myself the door. We're just practicing because we like to make music and we like to sound decent at gigs. So that requires practice, and we're just gonna share that with everybody. Hi, everybody. We should warm up with something. Warm up with something, I guess, and see how that goes.
We need like a welcome song. We need an intro theme.
Welcome, friends, to the sing-along. Not that one.
Not that one. Not that one. That is great in its appropriate milieu.
Milieu. That's a fancy ass word there, Paul. What does milieu even mean? It's French. I know that much. Right.
I'm gonna need this to be
We're
somewhere
caffeinating.
closer.
Do you want to be
Wait, I think I can get it over there. Okay, there we go.
Okay, so I need a little side table for my guest. Okay, this is good to know. I'm learning, and this studio is going to keep changing. I want to make another mural on this wall, but because we're sitting, we have the camera so close, it might not be advantageous to have a full backdrop. I don't know.
Might be fun to have green screen, so you could be in the Rockies, or you could be.
Oh my God!
Could be in
destination streaming
in the mountains of Austria, where the hills are alive. Or
I am tilting this your way a little more because we can see the corner of my room, which is not mandatory.
Nobody wants to see this.
Everybody wants to see this.
All right. Okay. So yeah, make sure. Yeah, if you got any feedback about the mix or anything, please feel free to type us a note and let us know.
Yeah, for real. If you can't hear anything, that would be not a very fun stream to watch.
No, that would rob the fun.
That sounds like a person. Rob.
The fun.
The fun.
That would be
not like the mountain. It's
that's my new rap name. Rob the
Rob
fun.
the fun.
Perhaps with a PHUN.
Oh, that's fat.
Or maybe
PHAT.
Or maybe GH.
Oh my God, you and GHs.
I love GHs. Because they mean anything. English. GH is everything that's wrong with the English language in 2 simple consonants.
Yeah, it's English language. I can't even imagine learning it as a second language. Good luck. There's no sense to it. What can we do? We got an octopus of chords around us right now. Doesn't look like it from the stream. Looks like we got our shit together here, which we do not. All right, these are all just chords. I'm gonna make it look like it's part of my outfit. There we go. Okay. How about a little by Mir? We kind of did that a little bit in the soundtrack, but
sure.
Is that a good way to start?
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, that's good with me.
Okay. Oh my. Let's not do that.
My brain open to explain all the things that you do to me.
completely maxing out the vocals on that part? Did it sound like it?
So.
Okay. I'm always a little self-conscious about how loud I can get at times. I'm just like, just clucking into the. That's what I do. When you have no comment, that thing goes flying out like farewell. I'll take the hint.
It's like the jerk on and on.
Oh my God, Paul.
So
We're very mature here at studio. Oh, I gotta have a studio name. This is gonna be good shit. I don't know what it is. It's the shit ass studio.
something horrible. Just
try to.
we can't actually say the name of the studio on the stream.
I'm not
it's so
allowed.
horrible. But
it's so grotesque and so inappropriate, and it actually wounds people at a very deep level. So
welcome
I
to
don't say
studio.
it.
And we're back.
And there's a happy sun picture
Just a happy.
with hosted by Officer McFriendly. Hello, children.
I like the idea of a guy with that voice saying some horribly obscene name. Hello, children, and welcome to.
Oh my! Did she just say?
Could be.
Oh.
It could just be studio. Wah, wah, wah. Wah, 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 wah.
Oh my! If you don't pronounce it right or get the want-wants wrong, I'm like, I don't know what studio you're talking
No,
about. I don't know.
That's somewhere else.
Yeah, that's not mine. That's not my studio. My it's very distinctly wah 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 wah. It's only that.
Welcome to studio. Wah, 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 wah.
How do I put that on the door?
Oh,
Wah, wah, wah.
just a picture of
Oh,
just a picture of a trombone with the with the mute on it, with the plunger mute.
Wah, wah, wah,
You could just write it out in trombone music, I suppose. You could actually just have a.
and they're like, hang on, I need to study this so that I know how to pronounce this business. Everybody has to have at least a base understanding of musical theory to get into this studio. No. All are welcome here, friends.
All right.
All right, what are we doing here? I do at some point want to, I might as well fucking be now. Look at some of that baby medley I was talking about.
Oh yes, the babies.
The babies.
We're gonna
add to it for sure.
Too many babies.
There's so much babies everywhere.
How many babies do you have? 5 babies?
So
5.
5. Yeah, we can just keep adding to how many babies we'll have. Not cough right into the microphone for you there. All right, so
If we perform it live, we should offer people a prize for knowing the exact number of babies.
baby
said.
trivia. Aw.
The total number of repetitions of the word baby.
That'd be like guessing how many marbles are in the container. Yeah. We'll be like, and now a pop quiz question, like a bonus question. How many babies did I actually say?
We could just give away. We could do it at Can, and I could just give away my drink ticket because I never use them anyway.
Do you hear that, friends? If you live anywhere in the proximity of Can Wonderland on a Thursday night. Wait, we're there November 2nd, I think is the next time we're there. Right?
That seems right.
Yeah. And then you leave me for 2 weeks, and I booked those anyway. So get ready for a solo act, friends. All right, this is gonna be some epic shit. So it's gonna be a little choppy right now. And I didn't add the Beach Boys yet because I think that's when I got distracted and ran my errands. Like I said, everything in my life is sort of half finished things. So this medley is half finished as well. You're familiar with this song, though, right? A little bit. You've heard Justin Bieber.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm familiar with this.
It's everybody's fave, obvi. All right, so I think I'll start this one with the actual intro thing he does, where he's going. Whoa, whoa, Yeah, okay, so baby, oh, I thought you would always be mine. Oh, the night we met, I needed you so. And if I had the chance, I'd never let you go. So won't you say you love me? I'll make you so proud of me. We'll make them turn their heads every place we go. So won't you please be my little baby? Say you'll be my darling, be my baby now. I'll make you happy, baby. Just you wait and see. For every kiss you give me, I'll give you 3. Oh, since the day I saw you, I have been waiting for you. You know I will adore you for eternity. So won't you please be my little baby? Say you'll be my darling, be my baby now. And then that is where it's gonna. God, you're so good. I don't want to interrupt, but that's where I'm gonna go into the other one, which I'm gonna just use my lappy here because I had it going. Lappy. Wait, where is it? Oh, I closed that window like a schmuck. All right, that's what happens. Okay, so bear with me, friends. There's a Beach Boys song that's Don't Worry, Baby. Why is it not there? That was like the last thing I Googled. Usually it's like at the top of the list. This is like first world problem right here. That was the last thing I Googled, so you should still be there. And now I have to use my hands like some kind of animal.
Okay, Google.
Okay, so we go. So it's like we got the say you'll be my darling, be my baby now. Whoa, well, it's been building up inside of me for I don't know how long. I don't know why, but I keep thinking something's bound to go wrong. But she looks in my eyes and makes me realize when she says, don't worry, baby, everything will turn out alright. Don't worry, baby, yeah. Oh, I should have kept my mouth shut when I started to brag about my car. But I can't back down now 'cause I push the other guys too far. She makes me come alive and makes me wanna drive when she says, don't worry, baby, everything will turn out alright. Don't worry, baby. Oh, this almost seems like a perfect opportunity to do a solo of some sort, I think. Yep, like that.
Ooh, baby, baby. Baby, baby. Ooh, baby, baby. Baby, baby. Yo, baby pops. Yeah, you come here and give me your kiss. Better make it fast or else I'm gonna get pissed. I can feel the music pumping hard like I wish you would. So push it. Push it real good. Push it real good. Ooh, baby, baby. Baby, baby. Ooh, baby, baby. Baby, baby.
And then you just stop. Oh, I won't hesitate no more. to go into another song there. I feel like that's probably plenty of Mraz. Don't you think?
Yeah. So that the obvious choice still lurks ahead of us.
What do we got left? Oh, baby, baby, how was I supposed to know that something wasn't right here?
Oh, baby, baby, I shouldn't have let you go.
I'm sorry. Too soon?
How was that again?
How does that go?
Babe.
Oh, baby.
Oh, no one's in our chat yet. I was just excited to see if somebody was going to nerd out with us. Britney Spears moment there. Yeah, where does it go? What does that go to? I can't hear it, and I'm not great at the ukulele, so I know it's loneliness is killing me. I can hear the chord, but I have no idea how to play it. Oh, maybe it's E. Oh, that's what it is. Damn it, E. Ugh. Okay, I really suck at E. My loneliness is killing me, and I must confess, I still believe.
Just modulate up into F. Perfect. Hit me, baby, one more time, and then into something else. So you think that just one verse of that'll be enough? Yeah. Because I think we only need one chorus of, the chorus of "I'm Yours" too. I should probably write this frig down. We could also swing "Baby One More Time." Although it is a little bit, we're treading on the postmodern jukebox territory a little bit. We can't ever have a repeat of ideas ever in humanity. I know. Art, art is theft. Wait, every song is the same 4 chords that we're. It's fine. We can steal stuff. All right, don't worry, baby. And then you're doing push it, and then we're doing into "I'm Yours." My loneliness is killing me, yeah. Oh, yes. I must confess, I still believe. If I'm not with you, I lose my mind. Give me a sign. Missing in there. I hate the way that sounds when I get, you know what I mean? Yeah, I know you know this feeling. So I know it's A minor, it's killing me. Is it? Nope, it's not that. Friends, figuring things out. Okay. I would look it up, but people are frequently wrong when they're posting chords to a song online too, so it's hard to trust it. It's a leading tone from the bass line. It doesn't matter. Oh, really? I think so. I say that like I have any idea what it means. I'm a drummer. Don't take musical advice from a drummer. I don't know.
I bought it for a moment. Ah, there it is. Fucking D minor. God. Like it was its fault.
And
D minor. How dare you?
And you're in E?
I'm in A minor. This
A?
is
A minor. Okay.
So it's A minor, E7, C, D minor, E7. For anybody out there who wants to play it. I like what you were doing though, that like take up the tempo there.
What's the oldest song?
So we can go back in time now.
I wonder if there's a throwback baby song, because I mean,
I'm sure.
if you think about it, using baby as a term of endearment for the person that you're humming with seems pretty odd.
You know, if you think about anything too much, it can sound like, where the fuck did that go? Yeah, that's a little odd for sure.
Where did that come from? Who?
Oh, hi, baby. Like,
is
that inappropriate?
Where is this? This voice. This mic is 4.
What? Yeah. Are you too quiet? You too quiet, friend?
I feel like it's okay for vocal percussion, but if I'm talking,
you probably disappear a little.
Yeah. Oh,
now it'll sound like I've been talking to myself this whole time.
Now we can. Now I can kind of.
Oh, yeah. Hi, friend. Oh,
hello.
Hi. Oh, hi.
Hi.
Welcome to the show.
I don't want to be louder than you because you are, of course, the star of the other.
And the star of my own YouTube channel, you guys. I mean, I think it's impressive. If I had YouTube when I was a kid, though, like, there would have been so much that you could be used against me. I mean, now you could use anything against me, and you can't come up with an insult worse than I've already come up with for myself. So good luck. But when I was a kid, I had literally no filter whatsoever. So I would just do that. And I had a video camera with a, VHS tape. And, you had to pop it in the old VCR to watch it. You remember things even older than that, I bet. You've been around this planet for a few years. What are you doing, Paul?
I'm tightening my shaft.
Oh.
Trying to get this
Can't
thing.
you just ask for some privacy when you're going to do that shit?
Yeah. Well, of course, when I was a young man, ever so many moons ago, there were no. We didn't. I remember the first VCRs that people got that were top loading. Remember the old top loading?
Oh,
VCR?
and it clicked it in.
Yeah. I actually worked in a video store, which lets you know how long I've been around for.
Oh, it wasn't a Blockbuster, was it? Hollywood Video Variety.
No,
Tidal Wave.
I actually worked at Tidal Wave.
You worked at Tidal Wave, yes!
I legit worked at Tidal Wave. I worked out in it's a Calhoun Village, the one out off of Lake Calhoun.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
I used at Tidal Wave.
I used to work at, or not work. I used to frequent a Tidal Wave that was in Roseville.
Yep, I went to that. I worked at that Tidal Wave for a while. I was the receiving troll. It was actually a great gig because all I did was sit in the back all day. I didn't actually work with customers.
Oh, those are the best.
So I didn't have to actually wear. Although I kept for years my Tidal Wave polo shirt.
You
But
don't have that anymore?
I do not have it anymore. It got lost in a move.
Oh my God, I would I should find out what the logo is and just get a custom like embroidered job, because there's tons of it, like t-shirt embroidery companies. We could probably get a replica.
But you did invoke the name of Hollywood in there, Hollywood Video. Because Hollywood came in, so tidal wave. So back in the old days, there was a thing called a video store, and back in the really old days, there were independent video stores.
Right.
So tidal wave had like 14 stores locally here in the Twin Cities, and that was it. And Hollywood Video started buying up all the local like mom and pop shops all over the United States, and so they bought up Hollywood and canned everybody.
You mean tidal wave?
Yes,
Hollywood bought tidal wave.
Hollywood bought tidal wave
and
fired everybody.
Jeez.
And then offered everyone their jobs back at like half pay or something, like a minimum wage kind of stuff. Yeah. Or like, yeah, that's going to happen.
Oh my God, that's my dream, to do the same job for less.
It was actually, interestingly enough, they fired me. I think I got pink slipped on or very close to my birthday. This would have been like 92, maybe 93 in there somewhere. Yeah. Happy
birthday, Paul.
They did give us a severance package, which was nice.
What?
So, yeah, I think we got a little bit of something. Not much, but something.
That's actually kind of nice. I mean, at least they gave some shits. Like sometimes they give zero and they're just like, get out.
Yeah, go away.
At least they were like, hey,
Yep.
Sorry for the inconvenience. You might need a couple weeks to, or depending on how much they gave you, that gives you a little time to then look for your other gig. Yeah.
It was actually it was actually a neat place to work because everybody there kind of had their specialty, whether it was music or movies. So they had hand-picked like uber like French film geeks. We had a guy that was just really into French and international film. We had a dude that like pretty much just did classical music, and that was his whole thing.
Oh
we had
gosh.
even Laserdisc back then. We had
that's fancy.
Yeah, they were real expensive too.
That was the future.
The future was going to be massive, fragile.
Yeah.
It's
like VR nowadays. VR is like, it's the future. Things before your eyes, and you're like, I hear all these stories of people that have VR and then they like, they know that they're like in a room, like at their house, but like they put on the thing and they think they're like, right on a skyscraper, like hanging out the window, and they freak out. And I was like, I can't even bring myself to understand what that feels like because I haven't done that much VR yet to really know. But eventually VR is probably just going to be so old. Like by the time we're like,
I really don't see a pornography application for that though.
That will never happen. No, I'm sure there. I'm sure there aren't already those things available. No, not at all. Not that I can say that I blame people.
Just saying, if you get into VR, make sure everything's very washable. Yeah, just saying.
That doesn't stay in the virtual world, guys. You take the headset off,
yeah,
it's still there.
that comes with you, as it were. Well. Hope my kids don't ever watch these.
Oh my God! Terrible. I hope no one watches these. That's why I'm putting it on the internet so that no one.
Which is where we started. Back in the everything is broadcast right now.
Everything. You got to live stream your life, folks. Okay. So next up is me going to the bathroom. I hope y'all.
Should we take a selfie of us doing a video chat?
Doing a video chat?
This is not a video chat. This is a stream. I'm old. I don't know what anything's called anymore.
It's a thing. Look, here's us right here. Ready? Your smile is so pretty, Paul.
So pretty.
So that's what a selfie looks like from a stream. And I'm totally posting that because that's hysterical. That'll be on.
No, it's just selfies in the stream. That is what we are. Selfies in the stream.
You didn't even try to rhyme that.
No, I didn't. Normally I do. I'm out of practice. I was with my first full-time gig was with a group called Blind Man's Bluff out of Chicago, and we did an improv song every show, and you had to do it. There was no. You had to be really, really bad to not do it.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Yeah, that was
Like, well, I bombed this 9 out of 10 times. They're like, you can just sit down.
just stop.
Don't
Stop.
don't hurt
no
yourself.
more.
Yeah.
I mean, and you can bomb if you're doing an improv song. If you're gonna go down in flames, you just have to hit something really big. You have to really go down horribly.
That
Or-
was horrible. And then stick the landing. That's what I learned.
Stick the landing.
Just no matter what, just
Didn't we talk about that as a band name at one point?
stick the landing.
Stick the landing. Maybe that could.
It's pretty great, actually.
All right. All right. So we've done a bunch of songs that we've not done together before. Should we do something that or did we need one more baby song, or were we good?
I mean, we can end. Yeah, I can definitely work with that. That's probably plenty to get us through probably like 5 to 8 minutes worth of music.
Yeah. Which tends to be our sweet spot right now.
Yeah.
Yep.
We kind of like to go on and on, I'd say. I say that we just plow through every single song in this.
We'll just do an extended 3-hour medley.
Just never stop. Yeah, we just keep going
That would
from
be
one
fun.
to the other.
We could do like 5 of them that way. That would be kind of fun.
Should we just see what happens?
Just page flip and pick a letter and we'll
Oh my
start.
God, freaking Ave Maria.
No, we're
I
not.
haven't practiced
I
that.
can't. I don't think I should do that with headphones on attached to a microphone to your head.
I sing loud, friends.
That would.
Sing loudly.
Bad blood, bad love. We have a bad set in
We've
there.
got
Bad blood, bad. Well, bad blood, bad liar.
We could do okay, I'm gonna write a note on the back of Ave Maria where the baby one is.
And
we could
then,
do a
and
bad
then of
medley.
course, let's see. No, I'm bad. I'm bad. I'm really, really bad. You know I'm bad. Come on. Oh, I'm
Tell you once again who's bad.
You need the E drum so you can do the boom, boom, boom. Oh, there we go. Oh my God. Okay, I wrote bad, but I know I'm not going to remember that. I'm going to have to say MJ, so I remember it's Mr. Jackson.
I can't remember a chorus though for the life of me.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
I had to think of Weird Al again.
Yeah, stay away or I'll sit on you.
Ham on whole wheat.
I wouldn't mind doing that either.
I've always wanted to do Weird Al covers because he's my hero.
Which should be the greatest thing about that, and for those of you that also follow on Fed Up Fat Girl, is people would come up to you and be like, "Don't you think that's like fattest?" And you could be like, "You shut the fuck
I
up."
will end you.
I will.
I will end you.
Yeah. Don't-
I did my 22 years of obesity. I'm set. I'm
Yeah,
set. That's
set.
as far as I want to go.
Yeah, that would be. I would almost
Yeah.
want to do it just to see if somebody had the knife.
I mean, some people do though. Like I said, people have given me like that bitchy eye thing, and I was like, dude, I used to do that all the fucking time. So I know what they're doing.
You would just glare at fit people. Is
Yeah,
that-
and be like, you bastard, you're so lucky. And then I lost a bunch of weight because I was like, oh, it takes a lot of work. I see. And then
Oh
I
my
got
goodness.
the look, and I was like, oh my God, am I this skinny bitch now? That's so weird. It's weird to be on the other side. Yeah, I was usually like, because there's like this jealousy. You see somebody that has something you want, and you just sort of assume they just got it, and they didn't have to work for it.
I laugh. I chuckle, but only with a lot of love, because it's just that we all have our own struggles. We all have our own world. It's not to say that they aren't occasionally amusing, even from the inside, but it is a weird thing to like sort of like hanging out with you. It's one of those things where it's like every once in a while, like the curtain falls back, and you're like, oh yeah, that was rough.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not secretive about that experience, that whole experience too. Like, see, my biggest pet peeve at this point that I have to deal with, I feel like a little more often than I want, is like the fat acceptance movement, because it feels anti to what I should be, which is and I am body acceptance movement. I am all about that, because you're never gonna love yourself no matter what you are. Like, there are the fittest people in the world that still hate themselves, like their bodies, for one reason or another. Like, I met some people in college that were like they had the perfect bodies, but they hated their nose, and that's all they focused on all the time. And so it just made me realize that it was like, you need to accept that you are what you are. We're all supposed to look different. That's kind of the point. And then, but the fat acceptance is trying to, I feel like, in my opinion, is trying to legitimize and like almost glorify being fat. And like, from my perspective, it sucked. And the older I got, the worse it got. And I realized that most people that are like, social justice warriors for that are women in their 20s. So they have no idea how much it sucks once you get out of your 20s.
Well, but I have a question to that.
Please.
And I don't want to like deep dive on our little music live stream here, but honestly, like, we're talking about life, so that's
part of music.
That's what music is about.
Yeah.
Art reflects life. So, but to that end, do you feel like, to some extent, does accepting yourself, let's talk specifics instead of generalities.
Me.
For you, was like accepting that you liked yourself, you were okay, like, because I feel like the body acceptance movement kind of has a place in, like, unless you kind of fall in love with yourself to a little bit, not in a narcissistic way, but like to some extent, then you can respect yourself enough to be like, oh, now I'm going to make an intentional change because I choose to, not because society says I have to, not because I'm unattractive, not because, does that jive with you?
That resonates with me big time.
Okay.
Yes, because before I lost the weight, I feel like, pretty much on board with, I think, where how most people feel, where like, I didn't love everything about myself, and being fat was definitely one of the things I didn't love, but I accepted that it was that's part of what I was. That was, the things it was directly related to the things I was doing to myself. So like, it was kind of like, without me realizing that was kind of a choice. You know what I mean? I didn't really know. Some of it was blended with ignorance, but yeah, loving yourself, and accepting that you are what you are, like, you have to, because if I kept going the way I was going, which was, I want to be thin, I want people to accept me and like me, I realized that, like, no matter what I do, no matter what size I am, and I have proof now because I've been both. I've been obese, and I've been normal weight. And from both perspectives, like, people are going to rag on you no matter what. Like, it doesn't matter. It's just, people don't call me fat anymore, or make any comments about me being fat anymore. It's the opposite, but they'll always find something. So like, you can't really do it for other people. You have to do it for yourself. And I got to that point for sure where I was like, I'm just tired of, like, everything was hurting. Like, I liked myself even when I was bigger, but I didn't like how hard it was to get upstairs, or, XYZ. There's a million things that sucked.
as a privileged white cisgender male, like,
so typical.
There is some because of the issues with perhaps spectrum stuff, but but by and large, like, there's a lot of stuff I just didn't have to deal with. So it's like, it's all education and figuring out what makes other people tick.
Yeah.
Feeling the struggle of your fellow people, because everyone's coming from somewhere. That's kind of the fun thing about doing music, is that you get to delve into other people's stories and other people's experience of life, and makes it fun.
I like how we all interpret it different ways too. So like, I've written a lot of music, and when I write stuff, I get people that come up to me and tell me, like, they loved a song and they were like, it really meant a lot to me in this way, and they tell me what they heard from it, and I was like, wow, that is so far from what I was thinking about when I wrote it, that I don't care. I don't share with them, like, no, it was about this. Like, it's about whatever you want. Art to me has always been an interpretation. It's like going to a museum. Like, you don't even have to have necessarily a title. Like, just show me what you're doing.
I was having this discussion with Aspen, and as a performance artist, although I'm kind of, technician, artist, sideman, whatever you want to call it, the experience of art has always been cooperative, that I'm cooperating with other musicians and also with the listener, so my experience of art has always been both performance and perception, that those things are tied up. And it just recently occurred to me that visual art was the same way too, that it's participatory in the way that writing is in some ways. Like, you write something, like Stephen King goes off on this in his memoirs of the craft, which I think is really cool, where he writes about how, like, it's participatory. He can write down all this stuff, but unless somebody picks it up and reads it, like that's when the story actually happens. Like writing is sort of, so it's a participatory cooperative act, and he writes intentionally that way. So he leaves things vague so we can fill it in as readers. Although I'm a much bigger fan of like Stephen King's earlier stuff. Not that his later stuff is bad. I'm not judging. But like this idea that he can write a sentence that really doesn't fill in a lot of details, but yet we fill it in automatically as we read. Yeah. So not only are we experiencing the story that he wrote, but we're also kind of making it our own as we read it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what happens like musically as well. Like there's a lot of stuff that people are hearing that happens, particularly if you're doing covers, you know. Sure. So if you do a cover right, you have enough of the original version in it that it references that and people are comfortable with that. But you can push the boundaries and limits of it a little enough that it's also something new, built onto something borrowed. And I kind of, you know, but it just occurred to me that visual art was that way too. That like you could look at a piece of a painting on a wall, and it's like there's the experience of the creation of the art, but then there's also the experience of perception, and that the nature of art hovers somewhere in between those two boundaries. It's not just the act of creation. To some extent it is, right? You can draw art and then, you know, or paint a painting and put it in your closet and nobody ever sees it.
I do that a lot.
But in some ways, art happens at that moment that somebody else perceives that, and it resonates in some way with them. And whether it's the way that the artist intended or not, you know.
But I guess that was kind of more of where my tangent was that it was really about like that art itself is personal and subjective, and it's. I mean,
what do you want to do? An original? Do you got an original in the tank? We got one that we could do right now.
Oh, we do have that one. Yeah.
So this is
oh my God! I turned right to it.
The one you're actually. That's it's Kismet.
Kismet.
It's fate. Yeah. So we can do. Yeah. So this is one of your originals.
That's
cool.
It's one of my originals. Yes, it's very topical. Although this is the one that I originally wrote some lyrics to it, which were similar, but this made it funnier because per your suggestion.
Oh, this is that one.
Yeah, to take it more on a journey. So before it was like this kind of venting song of like when you break up with somebody, you know, you have this whatever relationship, and like how you kind of do sometimes childish things to like make the other person feel bad, or just, you know, because you're emotionally going through some shit and you're like, I got to filter this out. And so sometimes
Taylor Swift's whole career basically is what we're saying.
Yeah. And that was like my
deep love though for T Swift.
Oh yeah, girl. I play a lot of her stuff now. But yeah, so it was kind of funny to do this song because initially, like I said, it was kind of like a breakup song. Like the worst I can do is call you and waste your time. Haha, I got you. You know, so it was that kind of idea. But to me, this direction of going a little from 0 to 1,000 by the end of the song, I think is a lot funnier.
I like this character development in the story of this. But yeah.
Like I said, it's up in interpretation. It's not a breakup song anymore, so you're allowed to interpret it however you wish. Okay, so we got.
Seems kind of weird, but I just can't help this feeling. Riding the bus, drinking a hot dark chili. I really must say, you took my breath away. And just before you exited, I managed to catch your eye. I stole a moment of your time. A moment spent lost in your eyes. It's time well spent. The next couple days I managed to find your Facebook. Had images, videos, and general information. I found out where you work. You're a general office clerk, which is sorta kinda great, 'cause now I can call you all the time. I stole a minute of your time. A minute spent hearing you say hello there. Okay, so maybe it'll be some. Sorry, sure. Let's see. Hello, who's there?
love that
goodness
song.
gracious.
I love that song so much. That makes me so happy.
I'm really glad because that felt more. It was kind of fun to exercise that skill of writing something funny and also just writing because. I don't know. We talked about this a little bit earlier, right? We were talking about how like there are certain tendencies that people have, and we were talking about specifically like the autism spectrum, and that it's a quality in somebody that's on the spectrum to be kind of have things that I have going on, right? So like I've never been diagnosed with anything. I think I'm part of the generation before they were just like, yeah, you're weird. That's fine, and you just kind of slip through the cracks there. But it's kind of cool to learn about it because it kind of helps me understand how my brain works and how I can utilize that to my benefit rather than being like, because I'm always a little bit worried that if I get diagnosed that I'll use it as an excuse. I'm that kind of person that I'll be I can't do things because and like, because I used to do that when I was fat all the time. I was like, I can't lose weight because I'm already fat and this is just how I'm supposed to be. And I was like, no, it turns out, so I mean, obviously it's not the same, but basically what I'm getting to is like my tendency is that I get very inspired and I get super focused on this one thing that I want to do. And like, if I don't just do it when I'm feeling the steam, like it'll be gone. Like it literally is just like, and I don't have a desire to do that anymore.
Well, and that's like I mean, that kind of falls into the ballywick of a lot of stuff that my family's been dealing with lately, which is coming to terms with neurodivergence.
Sure.
So, and there's a mourning, like it's much like, all the stages of mourning, which I'll forget, of course, but there's, the grief and the acceptance and like,
anger, denial.
You literally
marketing.
have to move through all that. 'Cause like one of the, so not to go down too far down a rabbit hole, but one of the things is like everyone kind of has a personal mythology.
Yeah.
So we've built up this idea of who we are, that's based on a lot of like, some is just plain out wishful thinking, and some is like stuff people have told us repeatedly over the years, and some of it can be good and some of it can be bad,
Sure.
I know, and I'm not speaking to anyone specifically, but I know people that are not very good at things that they think they're great at, and I have been absolutely 100% guilty. I mean,
Ooh, me too. Yep.
Some of that is chalked up to the hubris of youth. I've been like, where you're like, I'm as good as anybody else is, and then you hear that one person, especially as a musician, right?
Yes.
Then you hear that one person where you're like, I'm awful and worthless. I'm a piece of slime. I'm lower than slime.
Yep.
So a lot of, in a way, just getting a diagnosis or even coming to grips with the idea of being that you're somehow neurodivergent.
Yeah.
A lot of that is just coming to grips with this personal mythology and having to abandon your personal mythology, which is big and scary.
Farewell.
Because it's not like abandoning your personal history, but it's like if you're neurodivergent and you're confronting that and you're dealing with that and you're learning to live with that, you ain't got time for that stuff that you think you are. You just have to concentrate on who you actually are.
Yeah.
And are there going to be limitations? Yeah, but everything you can accommodate for almost anything.
That's true. That is very true. And it's now that I'm aware that I could potentially fall into that trap of using things as a hindrance, saying I can't, like I wouldn't perform, I wouldn't do. I mean, just like again, like the reason why I feel like it's sort of the same as when I was bigger was because I literally did hold myself back a lot when I was bigger, because I would just be like self-conscious or whatever, or think that I wasn't capable of doing what somebody that looked better than me could do. Yeah. I couldn't be that confident on stage, which is just stupid to think that way. But it's interesting because now that I'm the way that I am, I mean, I don't have the excuse, and some of the anxiety is still there, but some of it really did go away with that. Like I was like, even if I'm having like a bad image day, right? I can just be like, well, no matter what, like I can have a bad image day, look in the mirror and be like, man, you're a fat piece of shit, like still feel the same. And then take a picture of myself and it changes everything. Because if I have a picture of me, I'm like, nope, I've never seen a picture like that before, 2.5 years ago.
Huh.
So like I have to like prove to myself that it's fine. So like maybe if just knowing that it's highly possible that I would have a diagnosis, just knowing that that's like, well, that's good, then I can use that as a tool to figure out how to better propel myself in fields that I might feel like I might have trouble
Yeah.
or that it would be harder. Like they're like, oh, this makes it more difficult. And I can be like, okay, well, what would make it not more difficult?
Well, and that's the next thing is that once
Yeah.
you've like, not you, but like in general, for those of you out there that might be dealing with a diagnosis of neurodivergence in any way, like once you've worked through your mythology and you've kind of accepted, then you can accommodate, right? Because then, so we talk in my house, we talk a lot about reasonable accommodations.
Sure.
So it's like, and some of it is adapting the way that you do things. So, use like, and a lot of it is stuff that many people that are neurodivergent already have. Things that they use, list making, and not that everyone that makes lists is neurodivergent. I'm not saying that by any stretch of the imagination.
But that's funny because I do love making lists.
But I'm
Like,
just
that's
saying
notable.
that like intentional, a lot of it is just shifting to the idea of intentional organization that which everybody has to do really.
Yeah.
It's just that
Yeah.
like from the outside, hyper organized people, that looks like it's all easy. It looks like, oh, you're just naturally organized and you remember all those things. I remember I had a friend that was an agent and I was talking to them and I was like, how do you remember everything? And they were like, oh, well, I'm OCD. So I have to remember every schedule. I can't not do that.
Oh,
It's part of, so they had actually found a way to turn a negative into a positive in some ways.
That's kind of what I think that's like ideal if you can do that. Like my dad always says that he thinks that he's always been a little ADD.
Yeah.
And somewhere on that, and he's just like, same kind of thing where like, I'm not sure he ever got diagnosed for it, but he was very certain that, and I'm sure maybe he did, so because he was like certain of it, but he's like, I just use it. I use it to my advantage, that energy that once I feel it and I know that I can bounce between things, but that's what makes him a good event planner because you have to bounce between a lot of different ideas. So it's kind of the right mindset for that.
Ozza loves production and putting things together like that.
Yeah.
So it's like a lot of the little detail work and list making. Plus, especially when it's something that's external, that it's not like your own life that you're like trying to like get everything squared away, but when you're getting paid to do it for somebody else or something, it's often way easier because there's no anxiety about it because it's over there.
Right.
Somebody else's. You're like, oh yeah, this is
somebody just not
well,
mine.
and in that and along that there's some thinkers in the spectrum, I guess the spectrum community, like Temple Grandin. She wrote a book a few years ago, and I believe she's got some folks in the psychiatric community that are in agreement with her that perhaps ADD and ADHD are in fact an end of the spectrum. So she's talking about that maybe all of that stuff rolls because it's all sensory processing issues. Anyway,
so it might be more of like a finding your points on scales rather, or like something a little more.
It's certainly I mean
connected than.
That's the way getting tested for ASD, for autism spectrum, any of that stuff is the way it works. Is that there's a number of markers and you kind of get a grade. You kind of like, is this true? Is this not true? How true is this? And you go through.
I should just do it because it sounds fascinating. I mean, it sounds like an interesting test to get knowledge about yourself.
Yeah. Well, it's I mean, it's.
Couldn't hurt.
It's couldn't hurt, and then you have access to tools, and if it is the case, and even if it's not the case, then you can at least be like, oh yeah, well that's.
I'm aware.
Yeah.
It's good to it is good to check in with yourself and be aware of things. It's like you men and never going to the frickin' doctor for anything unless it's death. It's like, why wouldn't you just at least want to know definitively that everything's working within established parameters?
It very much is the same thing. Is that if you suspected that you had cancer, you would probably go to a doctor.
I mean, probably.
But a lot of people that suspect there's something divergent going on in their brains don't go and see a professional. It's like, why not?
It's true.
I mean, well, and of course it's because we've stigmatized it, and especially among men who are like, don't see doctors. There's nothing wrong with me.
Yeah.
Walk it off.
Yeah, don't be a pussy.
Walk it off. Get out there and walk it. Well, no, but I think there's something wrong with the way my brain works. That's okay. Walk it off.
Yeah, right.
Put some ice on it.
Act like a man and you'll be fine.
Man up. Man up.
Yeah.
Having seen women, having seen a woman give birth twice now, man up is absolutely the most meaningless piece of shit saying ever. Like, really. I mean, seriously.
Like, oh my,
we talk about it a lot, but I'm like, really? Seriously? Man up?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Well, didn't even Betty White make a joke about that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's something about like why we always say like grow a pair of balls, like they're the most sensitive, like you can flick them wrong and
Yeah.
they're just like like
I'm
really
uncomfortable just talking about it.
right?
Yeah.
Just the thought of something like this zipper catching a pube or something. It's just the worst, you know. I mean, come on. But that happens to ladies too. But I'm just saying, like,
But yeah.
those poor sensitive areas, and then that's supposed to show a sign of toughness.
Yeah, and Betty White says, I think wasn't her quote something along the lines of we should talk about vaginas because those things can take a pounding.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like grow a vagina, like we don't say that stuff. It's
No.
it's a weird thing. I was even thinking about the other day how weird it is that we all say motherfucker. And
Yeah.
I was like, and how weird it is to say fatherfucker. You're like, that seems wrong. No, we don't say it. And I was like, but the alternative is, it's no different. Like, it's just bizarre. I don't know.
It's like talking about something sucking. I think, isn't that a good thing if you're male? If something sucks? Isn't that?
Generally. Are we talking about straws? Because that would be a good thing.
Yeah. No, but what we're talking, because
No,
what
you're
you're
right.
talking,
Yeah,
it's all
exactly.
it's this
sucks.
it's this casually homophobic language that we don't even think about. It's just thoughtlessly, oh yeah, that's somehow bad if you're male and you.
I think it feels like in general, we don't really think about why we say things. We just say them because that's what everybody says.
Yeah.
So people are like,
That's
that
true.
sucks. You're just
Oh,
like,
yeah.
oh, okay. And then
Well,
I
I'm
guess
I'm
that's
from
what I say.
the 80s where we said all kinds of stuff that now you could not get away with, and I don't say those things anymore.
Oh, I
because
know.
language changes and the world changes, and things that I said when I was 8 years old,
Right?
it does not make it acceptable to still say those things.
Well, it's
just-
all experience too. You were alive for 8 years. I think we can give you a pass on that.
Yeah,
I've been here 8 years. I'm not sure what's going on. And to
Yeah,
be fair,
no
I've been
idea.
here 34 years, and I still don't know what's going on.
And not that, and like I should, as a caveat, I don't consider myself like, I guess I don't consider myself like woke or anything. I'm just like, I'm grappling through this stuff because I've been, as much as part of the system as anyone else. And it's like coming through this and like having to one day look around and be like, look, it's not even like, it's not it's that insidious stuff. It's that insidious little stuff that we kind of been like talking about and edging around anyway, but it's like, it's all of the casual anti-woman and misogynistic language that's just kind of snuck in, and homophobic language, and
Sure, yeah.
and anti neurodivergence and
Yep.
all of
Oh,
that
yeah.
stuff.
Oh,
Or it's just
yeah.
like it's in the language, and so people that want to rail about like being PC is terrible. It's like, well, yeah, but it's way more, isn't it? Like if you're saying a word that makes someone else feel bad, and all you have to do is just not say that word anymore, and then that person doesn't, like, maybe the situation doesn't change, but at least like you're not making that person feel bad anymore.
It's true.
Like,
It's very true.
well,
There's certain like, to me, that's like the definition of a modern lady or gentleman, like somebody who's actually, because like I think I'd heard it in a movie once, like the definition of being a gentleman or a lady is trying to make the people around you as comfortable as possible.
Oh, okay.
Right. And like the idea is that is just that it's being kind to other people, so that if you say a word and you see them flinch or uncomfortable, or they say, oh wow, that that's whatever triggered something in them, that you can make that decision to go, I'm very sorry, that was a poor choice of words. It's like when I'm doing kids shows, I don't cuss, I don't say that because it's not necessary. It's colorful language that I enjoy and grew up doing, but that I understand that that's not everybody's cup of tea. And
Colorful language that we enjoy here in studio.
get out, you said it wrong.
Oh.
Wah, 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 wah. You just exit. Actually, I really need to use the restroom.
Exit chased by bear.
Right? Would you mind
Excellent. Chased by bear.
do something that's drum related? Like you're gonna come to the. I either stop the stream or you carry on without me for a moment. Do you have a preference?
Do we have people watching right now?
No, doesn't look like it.
Then let's just pause the stream.
Okay, so we're gonna do that.
How long
And
have we been going for?
We've been going for an hour and 5 minutes. Yeah, friends. All right. Well, in that case, we're gonna call this thank you for watching, and hopefully, we did some music, but it was a lot of chatting too.
Yeah, I mean, it's we're honing in. So
Yeah, we're
if
practicing.
you've watched this, then let us know what you want.
For real, leave comments. Really atrocious, horrible things. No, please don't. But I think one of the things that we could definitely look good. One of the things we could definitely use is some kind of regular schedule too. So I know we've kind of been looking at Tuesdays. Tuesdays. So I think we're going to try to stream as many Tuesdays as possible. So if you're seeing this after the fact and you want to catch us live and like interact with us and join in conversations or request songs, we're looking for people that in the future, if you want to, and you can even leave a comment on this video, I would say, that is requesting songs that you absolutely hate and want us to try and make a cover that doesn't suck.
Yeah. And we're
Is that the right word?
Yeah, and we're super flexible. I mean, I've
Yeah.
thought that maybe we, because we could do like a 30 minutes of just music and then 30 minutes of just chit chat
Yeah, we
with
can try.
occasional music thrown in. But if you
try a
like,
bunch of stuff, for
we're
sure.
experimenting and we want to know what you think. So
Yeah.
let
Bye,
us know.
friends. Thank you.
Goodbye.
Oh my gosh, it's just going to be this awkward. Okay, bye.